Hi, this is Keith at shipwrightskills.com and shipwrightskills on Instagram, and we're going to sharpen a old chisel that I found. So the first thing I did was got my bench hook out. It's nothing special. It's just a piece of poplar wood screwed together. Just keeps the stone from going all over the bench, and it collects some of the water that comes off the wet stones. They're kind of messy. I like to use Japanese waterstones rather than oil stones. I just think they're cleaner. They cut faster, so time just, disappears really quickly when you're sharpening in the first place. So use what's fast. So with that in mind, the first thing I do is I use this very, very coarse stone. I think it's 220, but it might even be coarser than that. It's like gravel, and it leaves a lot of scratches on the back, but it flattens really fast, removes rust or glue or any, inconsistencies on the chisel. I knew that the bevel wasn't too bad, so the back looked pretty bad though. So I took the coarse stone first. Then the next thing I did was I took it to this King combination waterstone, which I got years ago, and it's about half as thick as it used to be. I think it's 1,000 and 4,000 grit. So flip it over, wipe that 1,000 grit off, so you have the 4,000 grit, right? And if you look at it, it takes a while to develop a slurry. So I use a NAGURA stone, which is another natural Japanese stone. And that, if you watch it, will develop a slurry on this 4,000 grit side in a hurry. I like that technique. I think it works great. So now if you watch, it might be hard to see, but you can see how fast the slurry is turning gray. That's all metal. So now I'm sort of polishing, refining that backside to 4,000 grit, which is workable. It's a workable sharpness, but it's not as sharp as I want it. It's not quite as refined as I need it to be to perform, really, really well. So once I've got the back really clean on this chisel, I'll flip it over and I'll do the bevel, but for now I'm still on the back side. It's very important to get the back super flat and sharp, polished, no pits, no scratches, nothing that's going to prohibit that the bevel side from reaching basically zero on the flat side. Rather than having like a tiny width of stuff where there might be a pit or something on the back, it will just not even reflect light at all. Here I'm going to the bevel side now. So I went back to the coarse side of my king stone, and I'm indexing the bevel. If you look at it, I kind of set it and I feel where that bevel angle is and make sure that I'm not just taking it off the tip or just off the back. And it kind of allows you to push rather than pull. I like to push when I can when I'm sharpening rather than pull. I think that develops less of a burr. So now I'm flipping it back over to the fine side. Give a little swipe on the back side just in case I've rolled over any metal onto the back while I was doing the bevel, and then back onto the bevel side. And every once in a while you'll see me just kind of index it to make sure that I'm flat on the bevel. So there we go. Now I'm going to this very fine stone. It's 10,000 grit, I think, and it's another King waterstone, natural stone made in Japan. And again, I'll just refine the back side, and I'll refine the bevel side. But this time when I do that, since this is going to be the final grit on a stone anyway, that I'm going to do, I'll start flipping it from the bevel to the flat side, from the bevel to the flat side, and that will, really refine that cutting edge and get rid of any burr that might be there. Just seems to work for me to get a very sharp edge quickly. So there I am, just flipping it. Once I think I've got it pretty sharp, that's when I do the flipping. And now it's pretty refined, so it's definitely usable now, but I wanted it to be mirror finish. It's just a good place to start. Then everything's flat and done well. So I just have a piece of leather that I glued onto a piece of plywood. That's flex cut gold polishing compound or sharpening compound. You can use rouge or any kind of polishing. We're really just refining this surface, and you can see the metal coming off the chisel onto the leather right there. See it turning black. And it's really making that mirrored at the cutting edge anyway. And I'll just do a couple swipes pulling because I don't want to stab the leather. But at the very end, I'll start pushing. And that'll help me to, again, remove that burr because I really don't want that burr. Anyway, this should work for you. It works for me. No power tools. Have fun out there.